and we are going to talk Resident Alien. Resident Alien. This is it was a sci-fi original. Weirdly enough, and this is sci-fi originals. Sometimes they're kind of like, and they have a bad reputation. They tend to be low rent. They tend to not have very good effects or anything like that. But this is one that actually is quite well because it's a sort of comedy. And it stars Alan Tudyk, who is always good value. I love Alan Tudyk, and I'll probably watch anything he does. And it is, the whole idea behind it is it starts off and you see this drone shot of a cabin by a lake, just somewhere in Colorado. And the sheriff and his deputy pull up to the place, and they say, "Oh, is this the doctor that you're talking about?" And they say, "Yeah, there's this doctor who comes here. He usually keeps himself to himself. He's there for a couple of months of the year, but this time he showed up late last year and he hasn't left. He hasn't left since then." And then the doctor's out on the lake, and when the doctor turns around, the doctor has the classic alien face. So the big eyes, everything like that. It's sort of like he's in gray. He's kind of like sort of like shimmery blue, purpley, and everything like that. And that's Alan Tudyk. Then you find out that when it comes to the show, they see Alan Tudyk. They explain to him that, look, the local doctor in the town has died. We need a doctor to come in and have a look at him and tell us what happened. And if we think it might be a murder or we think it might be a suicide. And so he comes in and he does that. And it turns out that he is actually an alien who has like this molecular reconstruction thing, so he can appear human. He crash landed on Earth once. With a mission which is not revealed at the beginning what his mission is. But he crash lands on Earth. He can't go anywhere, so he finds this person in the cabin, kills him, and assumes his form. And so walks around and he goes, well, because I'm really clever and humans are stupid, I can learn everything about being a doctor from the internet. And then he goes around trying to convince everybody that he's this character. And it's quite funny because you have this fish out of water thing, which I think Alan Tudyk can do really, really well. There's the comedic stylings of somebody who can't speak English properly, but is trying to convince everybody that he's a person. There's the fact that he doesn't understand social mores or anything like that, and people just kind of like write it off. And there is a really, I think it's quite well done. It's quite well done thing where he says that one in every 10,000 humans can see through the molecular reconstruction. They have a genetic trait that means they can see through the molecular reconstruction. And in this town, the only person who can see through this is a small boy. And every time the small boy sees him in the street, he's like, "Ah!" and runs off. And because he takes over as the local doctor, he sometimes goes in and goes, right, yeah, this kid has needs its allergy shots. And then he opens up and it's the kid, and the kid is like, "Ah!" And so there's this running gag about this kid being the only one who knows he's an alien, and the kid trying to get, and it's telling you the kind of flavor of the show, because it's one of these shows that has him walking around, but then has an inner monologue where he actually thinks. He sees this kid, and the kid is like, the kid is like, "Oh my God, he's an alien." He's like, "Oh, the kid knows I'm an alien. I must kill him." And so there is a whole sequence of him trying to kill this kid, like straight up, seriously trying to murder this kid. And it's about how the kid keeps outsmarting him and everything like that. It's funny. It's funny, but as I said, I expect that from anything that stars Alan Tudyk. I expect it to have its comedic moments. It's quite good, and I think that they have like a mystery element that goes on and builds up through its 10 episodes of the first season. And I think that they do that quite well. I think there's a thing that I personally think that if you're going to have a season of a show, you should have, I know you want this thing to carry on as long as possible because you want to make money and you want this thing to go on for multiple seasons. But I feel like if you're going to have a central thing for a season, finish that bit off, but leave some bits that you can come back to find out more about in the next season. And I think this does this very, very well. There's some shows that do it in a way that annoys me. Like there's a show that everybody's talking about at the moment, Severance, on Apple TV Plus. And I remember the first season of Severance. I remember how the final episode ends. And some people are like, "Oh my God, that's one of the best cliffhanger endings." It annoyed the life out of me because it told me that this is a show that is not going to give you answers and it's just going to keep going. It's going to string you for 10 episodes and then go, "I guess you have to come back next season to find out the answers." I'm like, "No, you're not. And that's why I haven't watched season 2, because I heard season 2 ends on a cliffhanger where they go, more will be revealed in season 3. And I'm like, get lost. Just get lost. Because
I'm not playing your games.
Exactly. I'm like, I refuse to play your game. You don't want to give me any answers. You just want to string me along, and I do not like that. And I prefer the way the writing is done in this, where they give you some answers, but they give you some stuff to come back for next season that hasn't been resolved. So all in all, I would give Resident Alien a 4 out of 5. Season 1. I think it's good. I think it's funny. I think and I think it plays with the sort of like alien lore and what people know. There's a bit where they go to a Comic-Con to go find out, the kind of people who sort of have panels where they talk about how they've been abducted, and they have all these people coming up, and he's just sort of standing in the audience going, fake. No, we don't do that. Oh no, that's not us. That's the Greys. It's quite funny. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I think you guys would like it, and that is on Netflix. It's also on Sky, but I think the first 2 seasons are on Netflix. The first 3 seasons are on Sky. Right.